Today at shopdap.com, we're going to be going over everything wrong with our project Alltrack. Okay, so today Max and I are going to be going over giving everybody an idea of a list of everything wrong with this car. Max is going to be a part of this build and doing a lot of work with me as we go through this car. So I'm going to go over part of this stuff, he's going to go over part of it, and so let's start with looking at this car. So we're going to start with the obvious damage on this car, which is the hood, the fender, the front bumper, and then if we take a look here, the door panel is damaged here and bent from probably where they tried to open the door after the accident. I'm not sure if this would have come from the accident itself. And then our wheel here is pushed back. Now this is going to be something in this suspension is going to be bent, and Max is going to go over that as he talks about a little of these suspension components in a little more detail. If we look at this actually bumper rebar here, this is damaged. If you were in an accident, this would be required to be replaced. This foam would also be replaced. It's probably not something that you may not need to replace if you were actually going through and just doing kind of something along the lines of what we are doing with this car. The other components in this are going to be related to the bumper components here, the fog light. We do have a fog light on the driver's side. Our passenger side is missing. The grills and trim assembly as they come around for the Alltrack. There's a bunch of different components along with the lower spoiler.
All right, so we're going to start here with the suspension stuff like Paul had mentioned. I'll go ahead and get this wheel off and get a better look at what's going on in the suspension. All right, so now we're here in the passenger front wheel area. Obviously all the fender liners, everything in here is broken. We do have some damage to the sway bar end link from looks like the wheel had contacted it. The shock is actually pretty hard to see, but it's got a little bit of bend in it. The front axle, interestingly enough, is bent. It's got a C in it. The tie rod appears to have a little bit of a bend in it as well, and probably can't really see from where you're at right now, but this control arm is doing its best impression of a taco. What we've seen that appears to be okay, not have any damage, is all the brake lines look okay, the ABS wires, the brake itself, and the spindle all appear to be okay. From everything else, though, it seems like we do have a bit of a bend in something. The actual subframe itself seems to be fine as well. A little bit of rubbage from the axle, but nothing major. Now we're here in the engine bay. There's actually not too much stuff wrong with the actual engine bay itself. The coolant bottle is broken in a couple places, and the headlight, which is obviously missing, had actually punctured this coolant bottle, so it did leak. So we will need to swap that out. This headlight support is bendy, and actually the car that it's where that would attach has got to be pulled up a little bit to get that done. Other than that, the engine does run and drive. It's good with that. The core support, however, is rather broken. Doesn't appear to leak anything. We haven't actually checked the air conditioning yet, or pressurized the coolant system really, because the hole in the coolant bottle. Once we swap that, we will do that. But it seems like all that does appear to be okay. Even though this core support is bent, it's actually not touching any of our belts or anything like that. So that appears to be good. Motor mounts are all okay. It's really a shockingly small amount of damage to the engine bay itself. All right, so this wheel was damaged. This is something that would need to be replaced because there's some pretty gnarly chunks taken out of this thing from whatever they actually hit, as well as scratches. The tire is also pretty chewed up from us moving it around with it pushed back into the fender. And then there is actually also a pretty sizable chunk taken out here. This is where I think it hit that sway bar end link that we just showed you. But yeah, this would definitely be something that needs to be replaced. We are not going to be replacing these hideous stock wheels with the same thing. We've got a nice set of wheels coming that should look pretty good on here.
Now, one thing I want to mention that I think can potentially get missed is the damage to this vehicle, to me, seems like it's probably not from another vehicle. So whatever they hit may have actually gone underneath of the car and caused damage under the car. Now that could include anything from things like the splash shields and this plastic skid plate that Alltracks have, to any of these other plastic components, to things like the subframe, the downpipe, or even the rear differential. So whenever you have something like this, we've inspected all underneath this car. There is no damage to any other components underneath of this car. It's pretty much limited to this passenger side front suspension area. Obviously you can see Our curtain bag has blown, and that is because of the impact. Obviously, it was hard enough that it set off your crash sensor. So as you see, the headliner is also destroyed all the way through here, more than just the curtain bag itself. So in this case, we're probably going to have to replace the curtain bag, the pillars, the headliner if we were going to be fixing this car completely. So this headliner alone is about 800 bucks. So that obviously adds significant cost. Now, because we're not fixing this car exactly that way, we don't intend on replacing this headliner. We're probably just going to remove it and have it completely out of the car, since we're mostly going to use this for a variety of purposes, but potentially tracking and stuff like that. So if we were to fix the airbags, that could be a problem, and there's a bunch of costs related to that. So let's check out the front. Our windshield is also damaged. We have a crack that runs all the way from a contact that's over here on the passenger side, lower on the windshield, and so that crack would need to be replaced. Now, we may not actually replace the windshield because, again, if we're going to rally this thing, the likelihood that we end up destroying a windshield seems like it's possible. So if it gets worse, or if we need to, we'll probably replace the windshield. Now, inside the car on the driver's side, the airbag went off here as well, so it's actually destroyed some buttons on the steering wheel. So you would, if you were fixing this car that way, you would need to replace the steering wheel and the airbag. We're likely going to put on an aftermarket one. This is damaged right here, so these switches are oftentimes replaceable, or sometimes are replaceable, but there's a gouge in the steering wheel here, which means if you were fixing this car for real, that's going to be part of the repair. So this is probably a $500 steering wheel, and then the buttons may not be included, so that adds additional costs on top of that $9,400. Okay, so we also have a seatbelt issue. So these seatbelts are locked up. The driver's side is locked up. You can see, because somebody was in the car at the time, they were sitting there, and you can tell that there's obviously someone in there. The passenger one is also locked up. Now, the reason why this happens is because there's pyrotechnics in the seatbelt that blasts when the airbags deploy, and it's intended to keep you in your seat. So they actually pull in the person who's in the seat further in to make sure that you're restrained properly when you actually get into a car accident. So you would need to replace these if you're intending on using the seat belts at all. So both fronts are locked up. When we got this car, this shift boot was actually popped up. This whole trim assembly was popped up. And the reason why, what we've seen is a lot of these auction cars, people steal the shift knobs, or at least what I assume they're getting stolen. And they just couldn't figure out how to get this one off because the DSG shift knob comes off a little tougher, I assume. But a bunch of manuals that we saw while we were looking through cars had theirs stolen. So if you are buying a car like this, it could be something to consider to check out to make sure the shift knob is there, because that's a cost that you're going to have to incur. Because not only do they look like they steal the shift knob and boot, but the whole trim assembly, which means you're probably going to have to buy a factory one, and you won't be able to just buy an aftermarket one. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention that I think people may not be aware of when it comes to cars that airbags deploy is when your airbags deploy, you have to replace the airbag control module almost 100% of the time. So you have to replace the airbags to go off, the sensors that tripped the airbags to go off, and then the airbag control module itself. Now, that adds up to quite a bit of money, and the airbag module on this car alone, I think, was about 800 bucks. So you factor in all of these components related to airbags, it really tallies up quick. So a big portion of the total on this car is related to airbag related components, but not exclusively. Things like that axle, the steering wheel, a lot of these small components that seem like not a big deal, and you don't need to replace the steering wheel just because it's got a gouge in it. But if it was your car and you crash it, you wouldn't want a car back with a gouged steering wheel. So, you start tallying up all these things. I would guesstimate by the time we're done with all that inspection, the total on this car is going to end up over $10,000 for the parts alone to repair this vehicle. Now, one thing we forgot to mention when we were doing our inspection video of the vehicle was actually scanning for faults. So right now I have the OBD11 underneath the dash. If you're not familiar with the VW and Audi specific scan tool, uses Android base, and I know they have iOS stuff coming soon. So look for that. But it's plugged in, connected, and we're going to scan our system. Now we're going to go through everything, and it's going to scan every control module in the vehicle, and it's going to tell us exactly what faults we have. So once it's done scanning the 15 control modules in this car, we'll come back and we'll look at the faults individually, and I'll kind of talk about them briefly. Now, we have 8 faulty control units that are faulty. That just means that 8 control units have faults in them. Obviously, airbag module is going to be a big one. And if you look on the right-hand side, there are numbers next to the control modules, and the ones that are red have faults, and the ones that are green do not. So as you can scroll through them real quickly and see what does and does not. So we're going to start at the top with engine, and we'll go through one by one. Now we've gone into engine, and then faults. And then the faults are crash shutoff was triggered, heat support pump, dry running, fuel level circuit sensor, and manifold absolute pressure sensor. So the MAP sensor I actually believe is related to there's a wires that we actually didn't know where they belonged to. They were pulled out of something, and I believe that maybe the MAP sensor, we'll have to inspect that in the future once we tear this thing apart a little more. And then these other ones, fuel level, circuit range, performance, that actually could be previous fault relating to fuel level sensor and the heat support pump dry running. That I believe is probably because this car lost all of its coolant when the bottle was blown up. All right, and you go into brakes, and it says multiple collision brake. So triggered, function canceled by driver. Okay, so that was just relating to ABS stuff, recognizing the collision. And air conditioning faults, function limitation due to crash signal. Again, I expect most of these faults to be related to the accident, although sometimes when you have an accident, things like that MAP sensor, that could be related to the accident specifically. So any sensor that the wires are unplugged or ripped out of or broken or anything else like that are going to create fault codes. And these are all related to the right side headlight, which, as you can see, is non-existent. So that's going to be obvious. Transport mode active. That's actually pretty surprising. So transport mode is something that is in new cars when they're delivered to dealerships. Now, when technicians PDI cars, which is a pre-delivery inspection, they're supposed to take it out of transport mode. I suspect that this car never was removed from transport mode. I don't know if there's something in crashes that triggers a transport mode. I don't think so. If not, then it was just whoever PDI'd this car didn't do what they were supposed to. And airbag, we're going to have a whole slew of faults here, all relating to the airbags and seat belts, and yeah, all this stuff is related to the seat belts, you can see, and then the airbags that are deployed. So, and what we can show you real quickly that, and just so you can see, the airbag faults you actually are not going to be able to erase. They should come back immediately because airbag faults generally are not going to be something you can actually remove from the vehicle. So as you see, erase them, just hit refresh. They came right back with you. Some of the crash related ones didn't come back, but all of the other ones did come back. Information control unit. This may or may not be related to this crash. Tuner for satellite radio. Every car pretty much on the planet, if it's Volkswagen or Audi, has that. And I expect something similar in the telematics communication. Yep, so that's just roadside's not set up. So that is all of our faults on our Alltrack. And no surprises there, but you should always scan cars like this before you're really starting to figure out exactly what the cost is, because it's important to know if you're going to have any major surprises relating to damage that was done by the crash that maybe you couldn't see or is related to engine components. In this case, we didn't really contact many engine components, but we did get enough that there actually was some damage to some sensors. So we will have to investigate that further as we go forward with repairing this car. So we went through our car as a broad overview of what we have. I did put together a list. Now, obviously, I have some experience in the automotive industry, but I'm not a body shop expert by any means. This is pre-taking the car apart. I've put together a list of everything that we need parts-wise, with a few things that I believe are missing off, but our total at this point is $9,400 in parts alone. That is for the factory replacement components. Now, the parts that we're going to be replacing, and Max and I are going to be, next video you see from regards to this car, is going to be he and I kind of disassembling it, doing a replacement of the lower control arm and the coolant bottle so that we can have this car running and driving before we go through and disassemble it, figure out exactly what we need, and go through everything. So I'm going to have, we're going to take a look at this list, and you can see on screen exactly every component that I've estimated it with a list versus our price on these particular components. Now keep in mind, obviously we don't ship some of these items like windshields or hoods, but any of these other components, it does get pretty long, are things that we would be able to get for anybody who's looking to do replacement for stuff like this. Airbags also is something that we don't ship.
Or seatbelts.
Or seatbelts, because they are pyrotechnic, as we've mentioned in the previous interior discussion. So you can take a look. At this point, we have 9,400. That's not including labor. So we can see clearly how this car would have totaled out, given the fact that that is a preliminary inspection of what we are almost 100% sure needs to be replaced. And that does not even include what we may find along the way that could make that expense higher. Now, because of what we're doing with this car, we're not going to be fixing this car to make it 100% a car that you would daily drive, that type of vehicle. So we're going to be cutting a lot of the fat out of this because we're going to potentially track the car and do things like blow airbags and stuff like that. So we're not going to be replacing those components likely in the system, which obviously will drag out a lot of this cost.
And we mentioned we're not replacing those terrible small stock wheels or anything like that.
Right.
So
we'll see a lot of upgrades, as you mentioned, with the wheels being one of them. We have a ton of other upgrades we're going to be doing in this car, so follow along with our build series to check that out.
And definitely let us know what you guys think if you want something specific that you want to see.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like it.